What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. Over the course of the last few months, we've gotten some exciting and surprisingly underrated support cards for Cyber Dragon. The last time I made a video on Cyber Dragons with their support cards before these cards, I found myself having to add different engines like Orcust and K9 to not only help get the deck to where it wanted to go, but to fill in for slots of decent enough cards to create at least a little bit of a chance. With the two new main deck overframe cards, Revolution Cyber Dragon and Future Fusion Nova, we finally have enough cards to play an actual Cyber Dragon deck. It's not to say that the deck is perfect, but I do think that we're another main deck do everything card and maybe a Link end board piece away to give this deck that extra push. So we're going to start here with Future Fusion Nova, another retrain of Future Fusion, and it reads, when this card is activated, fusion summon one light machine fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your deck, including Cyber Dragon. Also, for the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon except machine monsters. Also, you cannot declare attacks except with the summon monster. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. When that monster is destroyed, destroy this card. You can only activate one fusion or one future fusion nova per turn. So we're going to start here by sending 3 monsters away so that we can get into our eternity. And the 3 monsters that we're going to send are the Cyber Dragon, the core so that we can get it back off the hers and the hers. But we're going to continue here by using the effect of the hers, get back the copy of the core so that we can then normal summon it. And then we can use the core's effect in order to grab ourselves the copy of the Cyber Dark Realm. Now we can activate the Cyber Dark Realm. This will give us the ability to add Chimera, as we'll then be able to get the extra normal summon off of the realm, and then we can normal summon the Chimera. Go into our Clockwork Knight, we'll send away the copy of Realm, as then we'll be able to add ourselves the Clockwork Knight. Nothing really new here, as we'll then be able to activate the Chimera, send away the Clockwork Knight to get ourselves the Power Bond, and from here we can then go into our copy of the RB Link monster, the Brute Blues, and we're doing this just so that we can get an extra negation while also giving us some protection where if your hers does get hand trapped here because your opponent doesn't want you to search for whatever reason, then you still have a monster negation in the form of the counter trap that RB has. But we're going to use the effect of the Chimera, and I said search, but I meant to send, for the copy of Worm, as we're then going to use the effect of Brute Blues to get ourselves the next phase. And from here we're then going to use the effect of the Worm to send away the Naster so that we can revive it, and now we'll be able to get ourselves back the copy of the Cyber Dark Realm. This gives us the ability to use the effect of Clockwork Knight in the graveyard, discarding it, so that we can then get our Regulus and protect our plays from this point forward. Now we'll be able to special summon out our copy of Regulus. We'll then activate the copy of Power Bond, as this will give us the ability to go into our Rampage. The Rampage will then be able to send our next new card. This is the copy of the Revolution Cyber Dragon. It's a level 5 machine monster, much like Cyber Dragon, 2100 attack, 1600 defense. Unfortunately, it is not always treated as a Cyber Dragon, or never even treated as a Cyber Dragon, but if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use each of the following effects of Revolution Cyber Dragon once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one machine fusion monster from your extra deck using this card you control and monsters from your hand or field. So a nice card here that acts as a starter, but also gives you the ability to get into an end board piece in combos like this. We're now going to continue by sending away our core. We'll then go into our copy of Nova, use the effect of Nova to revive the Naster so that we can then use the Naster to revive our Cyber Dragon, or the Revolution Dragon. Go into our Infinity so that we can then use the effect of the Revolution so that we can get into our copy of Dawn, giving us that spell and trap negate to pair with our RB monster negate. And then we also have the 2 Omni negates, the Regulus and Infinity, and that's only off of one card, meaning that you still have a whole hand to play with. But from here we'll set the next phase and pass our turn to the opponent. Now for this next combo, it can either be Cyber Emergency or the Cyber Dragon Core. Just by normal summoning it, we will be able to get into full combo, though it does play heavily into Droll, Imperm, and things of that nature, especially since it is a normal summon, and that's where I feel the deck does need a little bit of improvement, where having an extra starter that kind of does everything without having to use its normal summon would help a lot. I'm going to continue here by activating the Cyber Dark Realm. We'll then be able to add ourselves the copy of Chimera, activate the copy of Realm on field so that we can get that extra normal summon for Chimera, then go into our Clockwork, send away the Realm. We'll then be able to add the Clockwork Knight, use the effect of Chimera, pitching the Clockwork Knight so that we can get our Power Bond. From here, we'll then be able to go into our SP Little Knight, use the effect of Chimera to send away our copy of Worm, use the effect of Worm to send away the hers, as we'll then be able to revive the Worm, Emergency, and then we'll be able to use the effect of hers to grab ourselves the copy of Cyber Dragon. From this point, we'll be able to use the effect of the Clockwork Knight so that we can protect our plays with with the Regulus, and we'll special summon out the Regulus here again, equipping the hers, and use our power bond so that we have another level 5 via the Rampage, as well as a couple of sends, as we'll then be able to send our Revolution alongside the Naster again so that we can go into our Nova, revive the Naster. The Naster will then be able to bring back the Revolution Dragon, as this will give us access to the Dawn after we make our Infinity, giving us the same board, except instead of the RB, we now have the copy of SP. Now, for this final combo, we have Revolution Cyber Dragon alongside any other Cyber Dragon monster, and we're going to start this one by special summoning out the Revolution Cyber Dragon, as we'll then be able to go into our Rampage, use the effect of Rampage in order to send our copy of Core and hers, use the effect of hers, which will get us back the Core from the graveyard since it's a Cyber Dragon in the graveyard. Then we'll be able to normal summon the Core, get ourselves the copy of Realm, and now this is going to go much like our previous combo where we can activate it, get access to the Chimera, get the extra normal summon for the Chimera so that we can then go into our Clockwork, use its effect, solves our copy of the Clockwork Knight so that we can then use the effect of Chimera to get our power bond by pitching the Clockwork Knight. We'll then be able to go into our copy of SP again, use the effect of the Chimera so that we can send away the copy of the Worm, and this gives us the ability to use the Worm. Then we can get ourselves the copy of Naster in the graveyard, as we're then going to get back the copy of Realm, activate the Clockwork Knight so that we can protect our plays at this point. From here, we'll then be able to activate the Regulus in hand so that we can special summon it, get the Curse from the graveyard to equip to it so that we have that negation, go into our Nova, we'll then be able to activate the Nova, get back our copy of Naster. From here, we can use the effect of Naster to bring back Revolution. We can go into our Infinity, and then activate the Power Bond since we've already used the Revolution earlier this turn, in order to go into our Mechanical Dawn this way, again, giving us the same board as before. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and I know that was a lot quicker than usual for my other videos, but it's just I felt that besides these 1 and 1.5 card starters that you see here, you're not really doing too much different. You just want to draw a bunch of going second cards that you can potentially play going first as well, and then have your 1 card or 1.5 card starter do everything else, where everything else like the Cyber Dragon, the Worm, the Chimera, the double copies of hers and the one Naster, all that stuff is meant to be searched, sent to the graveyard via Rampage. Same thing with the copy of Clockwork Knight, the Cyberdark Realm, which one thing that may be different about my list is the fact that I'm not playing 3 of this, and the more that I looked at this card when I was making this list, the more I questioned why I would be playing 3 of it, when considering that the 2 new cards that we got give us 3 copies of more starters. And I understand that with other cards this can also get you into more plays, but I just felt being able to play a plethora of going second cards alongside a bunch of 1.5 card starters, if you count the Revolution, was more suitable for the modern climate. Now, onto the options, there is the Jormungandr. I chose not to play this because, quite frankly, it just doesn't really do enough going first. You're kind of holding it for going second, and quite frankly, I just didn't see it helping this current strategy as much as some may have hoped. But then we have another new card here. This is the Cyber End Dragon, Decisive Strike Dragon, and it takes 3 machine monsters with 2100 or more attack, must be fusion summoned. If this card is fusion summoned using only light monsters, you can pay 4000 life points, add 1 limiter removal from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Decisive Strike Dragon once per turn. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. This card, whose current attack is higher than its original attack, can make up to 3 attacks during each battle phase. So it's basically meant to be a quick OTK card, and I could see something like this being better in something like Master Duels where it's a best of 1, but in a best of 3 where consistency and efficiency matter the most, I think that it's probably better not to play these. I've also seen people play the rank 10 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Flying Launcher, and the reason that I'm not playing this is because I just think that the RB is easier to make, and the point that you make it is also a point where you're using something like hers or the Chimera, and that's going to get its effect, and if it does get hit by a hand trap, then you still have this right after. So at least you kind of put your opponent at a decision on what they want to stop in case maybe they have 1 Ash and that's it. Another thing that I thought about was the Radiant Typhoon Vision. I felt that because of all the quick play going second cards that we have here, increase the consistency of the deck a little bit more. And another thing that I would like to point out is that with the Cyber Revolution Dragon or the Decisive Strike Dragon, I feel that these blowout cards cards become a lot better just because you're able to get to your OTK a lot easier while potentially making your opponent skip or just not have the monster via Kaiju. Then other options that you have are the Dominus cards here alongside Imperm if you just want to play hand traps. But with all of that out of the way, I'm just going to get onto the card by card as I feel the combos kind of show what the deck is supposed to do, and everything is pretty cookie cutter. So we have the 3 Evolution Cyber Dragon, the 3 cores, the 3 Cyber Emergency, the 3 copies of Future Fusion Nova. We then have the 1 copy of Called By, the 1 copy of Crossout, the 1 copy of Talents, the 2 Drolls, the 1 copy of Power Bond, the 1 copy of Cyber Dark Realm, the 1 copy of Clockwork Knight, the 1 copy of the Cyber Dragon Naster, the 2 copies of hers. So I bumped this up to 2 to increase our Cyber Dragon monster count just for the Revolution Cyber Dragon, or a Cyber Dragon monster count. But we then have the Cyber Dragon, we then have the Worm, we have the copy of Chimera, the RB, I don't know if I said Regulus, but if I didn't, there. We then have the 3 copies of Ash, the 3 copies of Bell, the 3 copies of Droplet, and the 3 Fallen and the Virtuous. Onto the extra deck, we have the RB, the Brute Blues, we have the 1 copy of SP, the 1 copy of the Cyber Dragon Seeger, the 1 copy of the Clockwork Knight. We then have the Infinity, the copy of Nova, our Eternity for the Future Fusion Nova. We then have the Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, which this alongside this is how people have been making this, but again, I just feel like I didn't need to use it since we were already playing the Brute Blues. And then the Chimera Tech alongside the 2 copies of Dawn. I've chose to play this at 2 just because of the Future Fusion. It's something that you can send 2 of your light machines, it gives you an extra negation. But then we have the 2 copies of Rampage, then 2 copies of Alba Lenatus just for the Fallen and the Virtuous. You can use these other 2 slots on something else if you don't want to play them. With all of that out of the way, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.